Final Fantasy XVI is an upcoming action role-playing video game that is being developed and published by Square Enix. The last entry in the series, Final Fantasy XV, was released back in 2016 and was a big jump for the series compared to the MMO Final Fantasy XIV. The game is being developed by the Creative Business Unit 3, which is the same team that developed Final Fantasy XIV. So let's break down the first trailer for the game, what platforms the game will be exclusive to, some development updates, and more. As always, all the sources will be linked in the description below, so make sure to check those out and support those original writers. And with that out of the way, let's get into everything we know about Final Fantasy XVI. Final Fantasy XVI was announced in September of 2020 with a trailer titled Awakening. The trailer achieved what Square Enix wanted it to. First, it announced that the game would be released for PC as well as PlayStation 5. Eventually, the marketing was changed and Final Fantasy XVI was announced as a PlayStation 5 timed exclusive, which means it could come to the PC and Xbox consoles sometime after release. We don't have any other details. It could be 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years. There's no way to know, and we will just have to wait and see until the game is actually released. A gaming analyst claims that Final Fantasy XVI will be a timed exclusive on the PlayStation 5 for 6 months, and after that time, the game will be released on PC. But the game cannot be released on any other consoles for a full year after release. This is not confirmed, but does fit normal exclusivity deals, and if the PC version is coming first, it would make sense why the marketing was confused and put out the wrong information. I'm going to go through a few of the notable pieces of information, first being the medieval setting. This time around, Square is not using the futuristic medieval setting they have used for the past few main entry titles. Instead, this is a true high fantasy title. The story itself seems complicated, which is true of most Final Fantasy titles. The trailer doesn't hold your hand and throws you right into the story and world. This time around, the story does seem darker than some of the previous games, and hopefully they keep this same tone when the game is actually released and the darker elements are not only for the trailer. The English voice acting also sounded really good as well, and that was another standout element in the trailer. The combat also seems to follow the modern combat style from Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy XV, so it looks like the team is staying committed to this new combat system. Next, let's talk about the characters and world we get a look at in the trailer. 3 official character bios were released, and the first is for Clive Rosfield. It says, quote, "The firstborn son of the Archduke of Rosaria." Though all expected him to inherit the Phoenix's flames and awaken as its dominant, Destiny instead chose his younger brother Joshua to bear this burden. In search of a role of his own, Clive dedicated himself to mastering the blade. His practice pays off when, at just 15 years of age, he wins the Ducal tournament and is dubbed the first Shield of Rosaria. Tasked to guard the Phoenix and blessed with the ability to wield part of his fire. Alas, Clive's promising career is to end in tragedy at the hands of a mysterious dark Ikran, Ifrit, setting him on a dangerous road to revenge. It was also confirmed that we see a younger and older version of Clive in the trailer, and Clive is the same person we see at the kingdom as a knight and the tattooed man earlier in the trailer. The next description is for Joshua Rosefield. His bio says, quote, "The second son of the Archduke of Rosaria and Clive's younger brother by 5 years. Joshua awoke as the dominant of the Phoenix soon after his birth. Despite his noble upbringing, Joshua treats all his father's subjects with warmth and affection, none more so than Clive, whom he deeply admires. Joshua often laments that it was he, the frail and bookish younger son, who was granted command of the Firebird's flames, and not his stronger, braver brother. While Clive will gladly throw himself into any danger, Joshua quails at the sight of a carrot on his dinner plate. But carrots become the least of his concern when he too is swept up in the tragic events that change Clive's life forever. And the final character description is for Jill Warwick, which says, quote, "Born in the fallen Northern Territories, Jill was taken from her homeland at a tender age to become a ward of Rosaria. Securing peace between the two warring nations, the Archduke insisted that she be raised alongside his sons, and now, at the age of 12, she is as much a part of the Rosfield household as Clive and Joshua. Ever kind, gracious, and unassuming, Jill has become a trusted confidant to the brothers." And like all Final Fantasy games, there will be a big cast of characters, but these three will be central to the plot, at least at the start. Next, let's discuss the description of the world that was given on the official website, which says, quote, "Valisthea, a land blessed in the light of the Mother Crystals. The land of Valisthea is studded with Mother Crystals, which are glittering mountains of crystal that tower over the realms around them, blessing them with ether. For generations, people have flocked to these beacons to take advantage of their blessing, using the ether to conjure magics that let them live lives of comfort and plenty. Great powers have grown up around each Mother Crystal, and an uneasy peace has long reigned between them. Yet now, the peace falters as the spread of the blight threatens to destroy their dominions." As with most Final Fantasy games, crystals will once again play a part in the story, who controls the crystals and the power that comes with each. Next, a description is given for the icons and their dominance, which says, "Are the most powerful and deadly creatures in Valisthea. Each resides within a dominant, a single man or woman who is blessed with the ability to call upon their dread power. In some nations, these dominants are treated as royalty in admiration of this strength. In others, they are bound in fear of it, and forced to serve as weapons of war. Those who are born as dominants cannot escape their fate, however cruel it may be." And these creatures are seen throughout the trailer and will be a big part of the story. In this description and trailer have barely scratched the surface of what we expect them to get into. These creatures are similar to summons in previous games, and the confirmed summons we have seen in this trailer are Phoenix, Titan, Shiva, and Ifrit. The last world details that are given are for the 6 empires that control Valisthea. The first empire is the Grand Duchy of Rosaria. The description says, quote, "Long ago, a group of small independent provinces in western Valisthea found strength in unity and formed the Grand Duchy of Rosaria. After years of relative prosperity, the duchy now finds itself threatened by the spread of the Blight, a threat that, left unchecked, would doubtless usher the realm to ruin. Rosaria draws its ether from Drake's breath, a mother crystal situated on a volcanic island off the coast. The dominant of the Phoenix is enthroned as Archduke when they come of age." This is the empire where we will start the game and follow Joshua and Clive. The next empire is the Holy Empire of Sanbreque. The description says Sanbreque is the largest theocratic force in Valisthea. The empire's holy capital, Oriflame, is built around Drake's head, the mother crystal that blesses the surrounding provinces with abundant ether. The people happily take advantage of this, living in comfort and security under the watchful gaze of the Holy Emperor, whom they worship as the living incarnation of the one true deity. The dominant of Blank serves as the Empire's champion, taking to this field in times of war to rout its enemies. Clearly, the team isn't ready to talk about the dominant for this empire yet and want to save that reveal for a later date. The next empire is the Kingdom of Wallowed. The description says, Wallowed claims the entirety of Ash, the eastern half of Valisthea, as its dominion. The kingdom's control of the continent has oft been tested by the orcs and other beastmen who make their homes there. But the current ruler of the realm, dominant of Blank, has succeeded in quelling their rebellions. Using this power of the kingdom's mother crystal, Drake's spine, this new king has built up a mighty army with which he now seeks to test the borders of his neighbors. The next empire is the Dalmekian Republic. The description says the Dalmekian Republic is made up of 5 states, from which the members of its ruling parliament are drawn. Its mother crystal, Drake's Fang, is half hidden in the heart of a mountain range. The Republic's control over it and its ether, securing the obedience of a large part of southern Valisthea. The dominant of Titan is installed as a special advisor to Parliament and has significant say in its decision-making. The next empire is the Iron Kingdom. The description says a group of small islands off the coast of Storm, the western half of Valisthea's twin realms. Here, the crystalline, orthodox, and extreme faith that worships crystals reigns supreme. The Iron Kingdom controls Drake's Breath, the mother crystal that sits at the heart of one of their islands, long a source of contention with neighboring Rosaria. Isolated and aloof from the mainland nations, the Iron Blood speak their own language. Orthodox doctrine judges dominance to be unholy abominations, and any unlucky enough to be born on the islands are executed. And the final empire is the Crystalline Dominion. The description says the Crystalline Dominion sits at the heart of Valisthea. Built around the tallest of all the mother crystals, Drake's Tail, many bloody battles were fought for control of this small plot of land due to its strategic importance, till the warring realms finally agreed to an armistice. As part of the peace treaty, the islands around Drake's Tail became an autonomous dominion led by a council of representatives from the surrounding nations, each realm enjoying equal claim to the Mother Crystal's blessing. No dominant makes their home there. These are the 6 empires that will make up the land, each with their own beliefs, dominant, Mother Crystals, and politics, all of which I'm sure will play a large part in the story. And all of the internal politics will have to be sorted out to deal with the Blight threat, which is the external enemy force in-game. After the trailer was released, the team promised more information in 2021, and the last social media post across all their accounts was in December of 2020. Next, let's get into the development news around Final Fantasy XVI in the past few years. Before the game was revealed, it was stated that Ryota Suzuki, the designer of Devil May Cry 5 and Dragon's Dogma, had joined Square Enix as a battle director of a new project within the 3rd Business Development Division. Due to the timing, it was speculated that he was working on Final Fantasy XVI, which now seems to be true given the reveal just a few months after he was hired. And he is a very talented game developer, especially when it comes to combat. Then in September of 2020, a little over a week after the game was announced, notable gaming journalist Jason Schreier was on the Triple Click podcast and gave more details he had heard about the project. He heard that the game has been in development for at least 4 years, which means the release is actually sooner than most people think. He does say it was only in development at some capacity, which doesn't mean it was in full production the entire time. But it is nice to hear that this is potentially only a year or 2 away from release. Then at the Tokyo Game Show in 2020, the producer on Final Fantasy XVI, Yoshi P, explained the graphics in the trailer. He said the team was pressed for time when creating this trailer and only wanted to show in-game scenes, so they didn't have time to fine-tune the graphics, but they promise that the graphics will improve with the next trailer and as the title gets closer to release. So if you were worried seeing the initial trailer and not liking the graphics, they will be better and it will look more crisp as they get closer to a final reveal. Then in October of 2020, fans noticed that job listings to work on Final Fantasy XVI listed that basic development and scenario production was completed, and that now the team was focusing on large-scale resources and building boss battles. This lines up with the information that Schreier reported on, that the game is moving along at a good pace in development, and especially if the team is already done with basic development. The next big update was from July of 2021. Yoshi P did a live stream for Final Fantasy XIV, but revealed information about Final Fantasy XVI. He said that the English voice acting was almost completed, and that the team was working to make the game as polished as possible before they show more to the fans. He also said next time they show the game, fans will want to buy the game and will be able to purchase the game shortly after, which means the next time we see the game, the release should come shortly. And he closes out by saying that the team is working to finalize the battle system to show off in the next reveal as well, and that the team is going to skip showing off the title at the upcoming Tokyo Game Show. And that is the end of development news. We are in the last few months of 2021 with no official confirmation or event set to see more of Final Fantasy XVI, but as of now, the team is still expected to show more of Final Fantasy XVI sometime this year, and finally announce a release date sometime shortly after. Hopefully we don't have too much longer to wait, and it happens in the next month or two. Either way, that's where I'm going to end this video, and that is everything we know about Final Fantasy XVI. Make sure to like and share, subscribe for weekly gaming news, and I will see you guys in the next one.